Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Death Ray here. How ya all doing? Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Just looking to get that up there. All right, cool. Got our sweet little banner scrolling across there. Yeah, guys, when the channel first started, like one of the ideas I had for a pre-recorded show was something called I Finally Watched It, where I watched something that I've never seen before and probably should have seen before, but just didn't for whatever reason. And, through talking on other live streams like Late Night with the Davey and some of the other ones, it was just sort of thought of maybe we should give this a shot, but do it live. And then that way it's just a little bit easier than doing like a pre-recorded thing. And then we get to discuss the movies, which is also kind of fun. So I think I've got like 5 movies here that I've watched this spooky season that I've never seen before. A few of them are just within the last like week or week and a half or something. So we will get into those. I'm thinking we'll probably go for like hour and a half or something. Nothing too crazy here. But really appreciate you guys all for showing up. I just want to say what's up to everyone. We got our guy Eli Cortez saying, "What's up, Davey and the Death Squad?" Eli is one of our great Death Squad mods here and channel member as well. And there he is with the perfect little commercial there. Don't forget to slash that like button and sub to the channel and consider becoming a member of the Death Squad for fun, member-only live streams, and other sweet perks. Couldn't have said it better myself, Eli. And we are going to keep on building those member-only perks for sure. What's happening, Trisha? One of our great channel members here saying what's up. We got Liana Baby Rage in the house as well. How are you doing, Liana? Great to see you. Hope your weekend is treating you well here. Let's see here. Liana says, one thing I've noticed is that while I'm subbed to the channel, the lives and videos barely show up in my feed. I have to search. I don't know if you have the, notification set, Liana, but if you set the notification bell for the channel, it may give you like an actual alert or something like that, or keep it in the feed whenever you're searching stuff. So yeah, there's you could probably check that out. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Yeah, pesky sometimes the way it is. We got Necro Mechanimal in the house. What's happening, Necro? Great to see you hanging out in the chat. We got Ryan Swayze. What's happening, Ryan? Always a pleasure to see you. We got Gory Tiger. What's happening, Gory? Love seeing you pop up in the chat. And my guy, Foz Rotten. How you doing, Foz? Says, looking good, brother. Why, thank you so much, Foz. I spent the whole morning like doing chores and watching football and doing stuff for the channel and all that. And I like jumped in the shower like right before hopping on here. So usually I let my hair air dry, but I'm sitting there rubbing it like mad with a towel. So whew, I'm glad I look good for you, brother. And then we got our guy Flet's Movies and Pop Culture 13 hanging out. What's happening, Kyle Curtis? Great to see you hanging with us. We got Wolfman's got nards. Ooh, little Barry Cameron in the chat. How you doing, Barry? Always a pleasure to see you, my guy. Big summer blowout. Woohoo! Yeah, we are gonna cover some stuff here. It'll be fun. This will be, maybe we can do something like this, like I finally watched it live, maybe like once a month or something like that, and I just catch you guys up on everything I've watched that is new to me. Because I don't mind doing movie reviews. I think movie reviews can be fun sometimes, but man, it's a lot to keep up on, and there's so many people out there that do a great job. So rather than just try to like keep up with all that and do a bunch of pre-recorded videos, I just think it's a bit more fun to jump in here with you guys. All right, have a great night of rest, Barry, and I hope your work week gets off to a good start as well. We got Lamontre Gillard in the chat. What's happening, Lamontre? Always a pleasure to see you popping in and hanging out with us. And let's see here. What do we got? Wolfman. My kids watched Monster Squad last night, and now they keep saying it. Yeah, me too, Barry. I've been the same way. Yeah, that one. I've been doing these shorts like horror movie reviews in 60 seconds or less, one a day for the month of October, just to kind of keep the spooky season stuff pretty active. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the channel has been a little more active this month so far. And yeah, Monster Squad was one of the first movies that I covered, because that's one that I've been watching like crazy since I was a kid, renting it on VHS all the damn time. And Liana is right, Barry. You are the OG. What's happening? DA Mac, one of our great channel members here. We got Adrian James. How you doing, Adrian? Another channel member as well. Hope the weekend is treating you, nice and solid so far. We got Dylan Prell in the chat. Dylan, I think this might be your first time hanging out with the Death Squad folks. So everybody make Dylan feel very welcome. I already see Eli throwing you some love there, Dylan. And he says, howdy, Davey. I'm curious to know what you just watched. Heck yeah. Well, we're just about caught up with everyone. So guys, we don't really need to waste any time. We can just sort of get right into this, right? Now, some of these, hopefully they don't shock you. If you follow me on Instagram, you already have an idea of what I'm going to talk about because I kind of gave it away in my story there on Instagram. So, and if you want to follow me on socials and you're not already, there are links in the description below. So you guys can check that out. And want to give a quick shout out and thank you to everybody that's watching this video after the fact. It really helps give the live stream some longer legs. And, YouTube isn't so kind to the live streams after about 24 hours. So if you're watching after the fact, drop down into the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on these films that we are about to cover here. And yeah, guys, we can just sort of jump right in. I think we're all caught up on everyone hanging out in the chat. So I'm just going to kind of go in order. Now, one of these I watched, it was like Labor Day weekend, and then there's a kind of a big jump to everything else, but I wanted to cover this one. Actually, the first two that I'm going to talk about here today, I have mentioned before, either on another live stream or like on a late night with the Davey, and briefly talked about them, but I wanted to get into them just a little bit more here with you guys. So what I'll probably do is, step away from the chat, just talk about the movie for a little bit, and then jump back into the chat and sort of see what you guys are saying there about everything. So the very first, first time watch for me here during this spooky season was right at the beginning of September, because we kind of get going a little bit early, us horror freaks. You know how we are, because you're probably similar in fashion. And this movie is from 2017, I believe, and it's called The Ritual. Now, this is a Netflix movie. You can see it right there down on the poster there. And this is a movie that, man, I had heard Dave McCrae talk about it for years. So I don't know why it took me so friggin' long to watch it, but my wife and I were out camping for Labor Day weekend up in the northern part of Arizona. And my buddy Gary, a couple that we went out camping with, Gary and Shauna, my buddy Gary brought out, they have like a really nice iPad. And then they had this really nice, big speaker, solid speaker that they put right behind the iPad. So we're all sort of huddled around watching this movie, the stars and the cream of the Milky Way above us and everything like that. It's, probably about 10 or 11 at night or something when we put it on. And it is just an absolute perfect movie. If you're going to watch a movie while you're out camping, which is admittedly sort of strange, but just the kind of thing that somebody like me would do, it is the perfect movie to watch when you're out in that setting, because you've got, at the beginning of this film, there's a group of college buddies hanging out. They're all trying to figure out what their next big excursion is going to be. It seems like once a year, these guys get together for a week or something and just do an all guys kind of trip. So maybe sometimes they, travel across country, and then this time they're trying to figure out what to do. One of the friends wants to go on a big backpacking hiking trip through the mountains of Sweden, and they can't ever really agree on anything. And then something unexpectedly tragic happens, and we sort of cut to when the rest of the friends, the friend that wanted to go backpacking ends up passing away, and the rest of the friends go out on that trip in honor of him. And as they make their way, they decide to try for a shortcut. And they find that in the woods, there is something going on that's really difficult to explain. Is it witchcraft? Is it something supernatural? Is it a combination of the two? Is it something that's just totally in their heads? There's an interesting dynamic with the group of guys that are left over that are hiking, because one of them feels responsible for what happened to their other friend, and one of the other friends sort of feels like he's responsible. So there's that tension there. And as things sort of progressively start sliding out of their control, it starts to fracture their group. And I don't want to say really anything else about the plot, because I feel like I've already given a big enough runway. If you haven't seen this movie, I don't think I've spoiled anything, because there's so much more that happens in this movie. And if you have seen this movie, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And first off, maybe I've got rose-colored glasses on because I watched it when I was out camping, and it was just the perfect kind of atmosphere to watch the film in. But the suspense and the tension really does build here. There are some very trippy moments. It's interesting. I don't really like remember the music too much, because I guess I was just so focused on everything else going on and trying to figure out, like, as I'm watching it, I'm literally like leaning into the movie. Like, we're sitting in our camping chairs and I'm like leaning in closer to the screen because I don't want to miss one frame of this movie, because I'm trying to sort of put together, um you know I'm trying to figure out, are there puzzle pieces here that I need to be looking for to kind of figure out what's going on. And it's a movie that sort of keeps you guessing for quite a while until you get to like your last act, and you start to realize kind of what's going on here. And man, I am so pumped that we finally watched this one. I really want to watch it again because I think it's one of those movies that after you know how it all shakes out, it'll be good to go back and just see maybe there was something you missed before, or to see if you can understand a little bit better about what some of the imagery means. There, like, dreams are a big part of this movie, and that's kind of like one of the trippier aspects of it. I don't want to go too deep into that because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch this film. But a really solid, even though it's technically not like, does as far as I know, it doesn't take place during like Halloween time or fall or anything like that. It's very rainy. They're out in the mountains. It's super spooky. I mean, folklore always makes me think of the fall and Halloween anyways. And yeah, I mean, I highly recommend you guys check out The Ritual if you haven't watched it yet. I'm happy that I finally watched it, and probably gonna check it out again probably this winter later on. It's a good, like, on a cooler day here in the Phoenix area, which God, I friggin' hope those come soon. It's 105 right now on October 6th. But once it cools down a little bit, I think it would be a really good movie to watch, or the next time we get like a nice rainy, spooky day. So very pumped on The Ritual. Definitely check that one out if you guys have not seen it before. And I'm going to hop into the chat and see what you guys are all saying about this one here. Let's see what we got. Adrian James is watching Big Trouble in Little China. That's an excellent movie. Thank you so much for hanging out with us while you're watching that, Adrian. Eli says The Ritual is so good. Yeah, I really dug it, Eli. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, what a perfect movie to watch out there camping. Shay Rants, what's happening, Shay? Great to see you. Says, what's up, Davey? How's it going? It's going all right. My football team won their fourth game in a row. So my Washington Commanders, or I still call them the Redskins all the friggin' time because that's what I grew up with. But they are 4-1 in the lead of their division. So I'm in a good mood whenever they win a ball game. Yeah, Eli, it is pretty nuts, and one of those movies that doesn't really like give away too much. I think you get like a good look towards the end, but I liked that they didn't show it too much. I think sometimes that's like the risk you run with a movie like this, or even like those walking sim movies like Smile and stuff like that. Like, I really loved Smile, but once it got to the end and you actually see like the manifestation of the demon or whatever, it's not like I was disappointed, but I wasn't like, I don't think I needed to see a monster. Like, honestly, like, so I like that in this movie, for whatever reason, it fit my sensibilities. I'm sure there are people that have watched The Ritual that are like, what the heck is that? Because we're all different. But yeah, the creature was pretty awesome. Yeah. Trisha says, I've seen The Ritual, but it didn't stick. But man, that sounds like the way to watch it. Yeah, and not everything really is going to stick or be something that you watch every year. I don't know if The Ritual would be something that I watch every year. But I think, yeah, certainly after seeing it and knowing how it all shakes out, I do want to check it out again. I'm going to open up my water here. Oh, yeah. Let's see what else we got. Liana said, I love The Ritual. It was a great experience. And Necro says it's worth rewatching on a big screen. Yeah, that's what I was trying. Like the whole when we're sitting out there, around the camp and everything, I'm leaning in because the screen, like their their iPad wasn't too small. It was probably like 15 inches or something like that. But I'm sitting there leaning in, trying to look for all that stuff in the background because I'm a big like background kind of searching for, anything that I can see that might tip me off. Especially like the first movie that comes to mind when I think of that is like The Descent. Every time I watch The Descent, I see the creatures like in different spots that I totally didn't notice the very first time I watched the movie. So yeah, definitely want to watch it on the big screen. Get that brightness up a little bit too, just so I can maybe see a little bit more of what's going on. Absolutely. What's happening, Cody? One of our great Death Squad mods and channel members. Great to see you, bud. Hope your weekend is treating you well. And we got Gavin, our guy Mud Nelson, jumping in saying, sup, I'm watching the Phillies suck ass at the moment. Have a good stream. I'm sorry about your Phillies, man. Hopefully they can, at least it's a 5-game series. So none of that 3-game series kind of crap that they do in the wild card round, which is bizarre to me. Gosh, I could do a whole stream about that, Gavin. I understand that when you're in the wild card that maybe your back should be up against the wall, but half of those teams won their division too. So to have a 3-game playoff in professional baseball just seems a little dumb to me. You're kind of treating them like Little League World Series, like at that point. So I don't quite understand it. Yeah, but welcome and hope your Phillies can bring it on back and end up winning that game there, bud. Yeah, guys. So look at my hairs. Just there we go. Get that crap off my forehead. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Ritual. I really enjoyed this film. I'll take all the kinds of movies like this that you got. We'll get to something else a little bit later as far as like what may have made this film work better for me than another subgenre of horror film. So we will get to that here shortly. But the next one that Kate and I watched was, and I know I've talked about this one in a stream before, but very briefly, The Rental from 2020. This one is directed by Dave Franco, I believe. I think it's his directorial debut directorial debut for feature-length film. And this has got that, what's that guy's name? Jeremy Allen White or whatever his name is from The Bear. And oh gosh, he was in that movie. I can't think of the name right now, but he was in the movie about the family of wrestlers. I don't know, Iron Claw, I think is the name of that movie. And he's really good in this. I mean, he's a fantastic actor. I haven't watched, Kate has watched like the first few seasons of The Bear, and I need to catch up with her. I've caught like little bits and pieces here and there, but he's really, really good in The Ritual. And I think most of the performances are really good here. Toby Huss is amazing. Like Artie, the strongest man in the world from The Adventures of Pete and Pete. And of course, he was Crazy Mike in Reno 911 and Allison's father in, H-18 as well. And what's really cool about this movie, and I'm going to be careful because I don't want to spoil it for anyone in the chat that hasn't seen this one yet. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend checking this one out. But it really, man, they find a really creative way of making the whole like Airbnb experience very scary. And it sort of has not necessarily the way that the movie is shot or anything like that, or even like the way that it's acted. But there are moments, and I do think like the story of the movie is very reminiscent of like one of the better like Hitchcock kind of stories. Because you've got this group of 4 people that go out to, 2 couples that go out to an Airbnb. They get sort of a weird vibe at the beginning. They think that there's some sort of like racial tension or something like that going on. So they don't know if they can really trust the folks that run the Airbnb, but it's a beautiful house, like right on the beach. Looks like I think it's the Oregon coast, because I think their plates are Oregon plates. And so that's where the movie's supposed to take place. And yeah, they've just got this sort of like distrust for the people that run the Airbnb, but they're like, all right, let's just get that out of our heads. Let's just have a good time. And, again, I don't want to give too much away, but it sort of gets to the point where they realize that they're being watched inside the house, and then the suspicions like really ratchet up, and um, they get themselves into a situation where things go a little bit too far and a little out of control without them even realizing it. And gosh, it's so tough to say anything else about this movie without spoiling it. So I really don't want to, but I will say that um, you know, I'm sitting there watching the whole time trying to figure out like who's involved here, what's going on, like who is like the person that's are there multiple people that are working on this thing? Is it one person? Like what's going on? The violence really ratchets up towards the end of the film, and the ending of the movie to me is just such a great gut punch where you can just leave it with just the rental and end it there because it really leaves you with an unsettling thought at the end of the film. And this is also a movie that like I could see turn into a franchise because the way they set everything up towards the end of the movie, they basically set it up to where these situations could happen. Like this could have been like the fifth or sixth or 10th time that this has happened with an Airbnb because of the operation that the main person has going here. So again, really kind of dancing around it. Don't want to give anything away, but I think for a guy like Dave Franco, who a lot of times in Hollywood, it's like the people that are actors are all like, "Oh, I act, but I really love to direct." But I will say this, man, Dave Franco like left a pretty big impression on me as a director here, and I believe he wrote the story or had input on the story. Let me double check that just to make sure that I'm not like talking out of turn here. Um, let's see here. Oh, that's not it. I'm looking up The Ritual while talking about The Rental. Yeah, so he is one of the writers here. And in addition to that Jeremy Allen White guy, oh, I got his name right. Jeremy Allen White. Of course, Dan Stevens is in this film. Everybody loves Dan Stevens from The Guest, and of course Abigail from earlier this year. And I don't know really how I feel about Dan Stevens as an actor, but he's good in this movie. I mean, he plays kind of like a douche, I guess, sort of a jerk. And gosh, he sure does a good job of that because he plays not as a different kind of jerk, I would say, in Abigail. But yeah, man, The Rental just it's a movie that's not even like I wouldn't even say it's a slow burn because it seems to move like pretty economical. Like it's got a nice speed to it. I think that maybe once the action starts happening and once the person that's watching them starts making some more like intense moves, I really think they could have like slowed it down a little bit more and sort of let it breathe a little bit. But I don't even know if that's really like a criticism. That's just something that like comes to mind because you guys know how I feel about movies that go on too long. And this movie, man, they really give you everything that you need. They don't give you all the answers, which I really, really love. And then they leave you sort of hanging with kind of a sick feeling in your stomach at the end of the movie. And I guess I see like one of the reasons why I say it sort of reminds me of Hitchcock is that it makes Hitchcock was really good at like creating fear around something that like didn't have fear around it before, like making a shower scary, making birds scary. What else? I mean, even in something like Vertigo, like, the whole idea in Vertigo that somebody could completely gaslight you and take advantage of like a condition that you have to manipulate you and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think in The Rental, even though I'm sure there are true life nightmare stories about Airbnbs, The Rental does a really good job of creating this like, you might think you're safe and you are so far from safe when you're in one of these places. And in that, it really succeeds. If you haven't watched this yet, I highly recommend it. I'm really happy that I finally watched this one. I don't know if I need to rewatch it. Maybe at some point I'll want to revisit it, but it's certainly a movie that like leaves an impression and definitely worth watching if you've not seen it yet. and the chat is kind of popping off here. So I just want to jump in and see what you guys are all saying here. Let's see what we got. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Let's see. Eli says, I haven't seen this one. Yeah, man, I recommend it. I think we watched it on Netflix, if I remember correctly. Dylan asks, Davey, do you like watching more nuanced horror movies, or do you like some stupid yet entertaining stuff as well? I feel you're a well-rounded dude, but just figured I'd ask. Yeah, I kind of like it all, Dylan. So I do, slow burn kind of movies where you sort of have to meet the creator halfway, or where you have to do a little bit of that thinking. I really enjoy that. But I also, I'm a huge like Friday the 13th fan, and I love the Halloween series. Like, I'll pop on any one of those like old slasher, like 80s big three slashers, like any time of the year, I'll pop one of those on. Even if I'm like, if my wife and I are just running around doing chores, we might throw on a Friday the 13th film just to have on in the background. So yeah, I like it all. To me, it's sort of like, what are you in the mood for? And then find something that sort of fits that mood. And then, especially when it comes to like newer stuff, like, this is a movie that I just watched for the very first time. So sometimes it's just about like taking a chance, or, maybe I've watched somebody on YouTube that's mentioned one of these. So like Dave McRae had talked about The Ritual for years. I've heard him talking about it. And then The Rental, I believe it was Kurt and Jenks over at Twisted Locker. They had talked about it on one of their videos. So it kind of brought it to the forefront of my mind. My wife and I were searching around, saw it in there, and decided to check it out. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like it all. To me, it's sort of just like, does it entertain me? And that means all sorts of things. So like, while I'm a huge Romero zombie fan, I also love something silly like Return of the Living Dead, Dead Alive. That's one of my favorite zombie movies. So yeah, I'm all over the place. Liana says, I didn't know Jeremy Allen White was in this. I have to see this one now. Yeah, I think a lot of the ladies probably feel that way, Liana. Trisha says, I haven't seen it. I'll add it to the list. Hell yeah. Cody says Iron Claw was really good. I've heard that it is just amazing. And I heard that one, talk about gut punch. I heard that movie is like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. And that one's got Efron and Holt McElhenney. McElhenney. I don't even know how to say that last name. And I have Irish in my blood. So what the hell does that say about me? What's happening, Jamie Hart? We got Jamie, our original Death Squad mod. Hope your weekend is treating you well so far, miss. Liana says, oh my goodness, I watched it before when it hit Netflix early. All right. Oh, back in the Pandy days. Well, you can check it out again, right? That's crazy that Artie is in this. I didn't know he was still acting. This sounds good. Yeah, Eli, he was in, he plays Allison's dad in Halloween 2018. So, if you've seen that one, he's the whole peanut butter on his penis guy. Yeah, fun stuff there. Let's see what else you guys are all saying. What's up to Jamie and everyone. Making a toilet scary. Sure, why not? Yep, you gotta make a toilet scary. And I think another in line with the whole like making the Airbnb scary, all that stuff. I think that was one of the things I really liked about Shutter Island by Martin Scorsese, is that he made that lighthouse really, really scary. Just one of those Hitchcockian kind of things that I really enjoy, that kind of stuff. Raymond did not like The Rental. What did you not like about it, Raymond? I'm curious to know, but if we can not get too spoiler heavy, because it sounds like there are a few people that haven't seen it. Because there's some fun stuff revealed here for sure. Ryan says, just came back to hear peanut butter on the peanut. That's too funny. What's happening, Joel? Thanks for hanging out in the chat with us, my guy. What's happening? Hope your weekend's going well. All right, guys. So moving on from The Rental, which I enjoyed, but probably I don't know if I'll ever need to revisit it. Some movies just sort of leave an impression, and that's it. I wouldn't mind if they did a sequel to this, though. I would check it out for sure. And then bringing up, this one is a big one that I just didn't see for such a long time, guys. This is Mike Flanagan's Hush. And I can't even remember what year did this come out. Was this like 2015 or 2016? 2016. Okay. So yeah, this movie, I've heard just so many amazing things about it since it came out. A lot of people compared it to, elements from like Halloween with the creepy mask and the stalking and everything like that. I thought Hush was really, really cool and really unique. I like movies where you can just have like a handful of people and make the story work. Just it's very intimate and it's very like almost I know it's not real time, but they sort of speed up time a little bit, but you get like something that's pretty close to real time. Once they jump to like the night. And a couple things about this movie that I think make it work really well. I love the sound design. I love how they play with that because our main character is a deaf mute. So, sometimes putting us in her perspective and going in and out of that, I really enjoyed that part of it as well. Um, I liked how she's like a writer, so when like push comes to shove at the end, she sort of like starts like thinking things out of like as if she were writing the story, like how she would get herself out of this situation. I thought that was a really cool, creative way to for somebody to develop a plan, like because in these movies, people like there's always somebody that like puts together a plan and it's just like it just happens. Like it's just somebody that stands up and you don't know what the heck they do, but it makes sense in this situation because it seems like she writes these like thriller stories, stuff like that. And she makes a comment at the beginning of the movie. She's like signing to one of her friends, and she makes a comment about how she can't decide on an ending for her next story. She's got like 6 or 7 endings. So then that sort of comes back around at the end of the movie when she's sort of thinking about like, how can I get myself out of this situation with this guy that is stalking me and taunting me and basically just like our main character is like an animal in a cage. Like the house is the cage and the guy's just playing with his food until he's ready to just make his move or until she's so exhausted that he can just go ahead and get in there for like the kill shot. And so I think that worked really well. That part of her character played really well. A couple things frustrated me with this movie though. They do this a lot in movies. Like if you're living out there isolated alone in the woods, like I don't care where you fall on like the political spectrum or whatever, you gotta have a gun. Like you have to have a gun if you're living alone. Like, of course, take lessons, learn and be a responsible user of the weapon. So then that way, when something like this happens, you feel confident in what you're doing and you're not fumbling around and, missing your opportunity to secure your own safety. And I get it. Every movie has contrivances and all that. But I think this is one of those things where it's like, man, especially if you're living in isolation and you're living alone and maybe a little bit more of, it's probably a bit more critical because you're deaf and you're mute and you're also a woman. So maybe it's just a good idea to have a gun in the house or something, stun gun, taser, whatever, just something instead of just like a butcher knife. Like going at somebody like this with a knife is no good. And not only just for people in the woods, but if you're ever out doing something on your property and a big animal comes around that's hungry or upset about something, you might want to have a weapon in that case as well. So I understand that the movie wouldn't have happened if she had all that. But it was one of those things for the first like half hour. Like Kate was like, you have to let it go. And I was just like, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. But I really enjoyed Hush. I think that this is a movie that, I saw that it was just announced recently to finally have a physical release because I know was it on Netflix originally? And then it went away and then it came back on streaming. And I know there's a huge following, so many people love everything that Mike Flanagan does. And this movie, or I should point there, this movie in particular with Hush. This is a movie I could see myself popping in like around spooky season every year. I don't know if Kate could handle it. She was all tensed up. She could hardly finish her dinner. In fact, she couldn't finish her dinner because she was just so tense from everything. But every time I asked her if she really liked it or not, she was like, it was scary. So I'll just take that as a yes. She liked it. Hush definitely gets my stamp of approval for sure. And I can certainly see why people enjoy what Flanagan does because he does a really good job here. And let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see. Just want to catch up to where we were. Oh, Joel pops in just to say that he dug the rental. It had its slasher moments. It sure does. Yeah, it does. Dean Renner, what's happening, Dean? Great to see you in the chat. Everybody make Dean feel welcome. I'm not sure if this is your first time or maybe your second time, but welcome to the Hangout, man. Dean says, haven't seen the rental, but I'll definitely check it out tonight after episode 3 of The Penguin. I need to catch up on that Penguin show because it looks really good. I love the makeup and I love Colin Farrell's performance from, the Batman movie. Absolutely. Ryan Swayze says Hush was so good. Dean says Hush is great. Can't wait to get that 4K in a few weeks. Hell yeah. I'm really pumped for all the fans of Hush. And I do think that is it Maddie? Maddie is the name of the main character. I do think she is like one of the more impressive final girls. Despite the fact that she chose not to arm herself previous to having an attacker. I do think she's a character that you really root for. They really immerse you and like you relate with her so much. They do a really good job with the filmmaking, not only I think largely on the technical side, but also with the way they wrote the story to really put you in her shoes, which is, I think, a very special thing, especially it's a special thing, especially because most of us in the audience are probably not deaf mutes, and they really put you there, which is, a great thing for the film that it can do that. What's happening, Gene? How are you doing? Love to see Gene Whitcomb hanging with us. Raymond says, honestly, I didn't like any of the characters except one, and they did her wrong. Are you talking about the rental still there, Raymond, or are you talking about Hush? And just got to give Raymond a shout out for being an awesome channel member. Trisha says, I love Hush. I've seen it hundreds of times. It's so good. Something about it really appeals to me. It is like, I love that it's not too long. I do like that. Once it gets going, it really gets going. It's got plenty of tension throughout. So I think that's pretty awesome as well, for sure. Raymond loves Hush. There it is. Jamie says Hush is so good. I heard Hush is on Shudder. I think it is. Woo! That sneeze sure did sneak up on me, folks. That'll make for a good short later. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Joel. Hush is on Shudder. I think it originally was on Netflix, if I'm correct. But yeah, that's where I watched it on Shudder earlier, or it was last weekend. Very curious to watch the Shush cut version. So what's that? What is that, Dean? Tell me all about the Shush cut version. Let's see here. We got Happy Sanjo gifting a Davy Death Ray membership. Let's see who gets that one here. Let's see who it is. Boom. Paula Fitzhenry is gifted a membership from Happy Sanjo. Happy Sanjo. Thank you so much, Koi. Really appreciate you. Koi has been a channel member since day one. So thank you so much for that, Koi. Really appreciate you. And he's always jumping in with membership gifting and super chats. So a great channel member and just awesome member of the community here as well. Let's see here, making his presence known. How you doing, Koi? Hope the weekend has been great so far for you. Love seeing you hanging out in the chat with everyone here. Let's see what else. Oh, yep, it is. Yeah, they just recently put it back on streaming. For sure. So that is pretty awesome. Dylan's gonna snag the 4K as well. Yeah, man, this movie is pretty damn fun. You should fun, I don't know, but if you're a horror fan, very fun. What's happening, Darren? Great to see the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast represented here in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Caught you a bit earlier with Matt from Mad Blood. Man, his channel is just blowing up right now. And he's going to be on Late Night with the Davy here in just a couple weeks or a few weeks. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be a good time. Dean says he's been here a couple times. Okay, yeah, I thought your name looked a little familiar, Dean. But yeah, welcome back, man. Really appreciate you coming on back for a hang here. There's a new cut that's going to be on the 4K, apparently in black and white, and Flanagan's original version of the film. Okay. Oh, that'll be really great. This movie probably would look amazing in black and white, especially if they kind of go in there and play with it a little bit to make it just not like you're just putting a black and white filter on it, but that you actually edit the scenes a little bit differently with the contrast and everything. That would be great. Yeah. I need to catch up on so much of his stuff, Trisha. Like I need to catch up on Midnight Mass and what are the other ones? Like he did the what is it called? The one of those Edgar Allan Poe stories. Why can't I think of the Fall of the House of Usher, I believe. Something like that. Gotta wet my whistle there. Yeah, I need to catch up on a whole lot. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing this live version of I Finally Watched It, because you guys sort of motivate me to watch some things I've never seen before. And then it gives me an excuse to come on the channel here and do a live and just have a chat with you guys about it all for sure. Yeah, Matt's incredible. Frank and Darren are awesome. Love seeing those guys and everything they're doing over there for sure. Let's see here. We got Melissa Wildcard jumping in. What's happening, Melissa? Great to see you back in the chat. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. King of Sanity says in the original version of the deleted scenes is where the killer gets one of those drink umbrellas stuck. I don't think so, King of Sanity. I doubt that. Flanagan is great, says Dean. Let's see here. Yeah, it does sound painful, Dean. Let's see here. What else do we got coming up next? All right, so this is a found footage film that I watched recently on Shudder as well, because I heard good things about this. Guys, admittedly, I haven't seen too many found footage movies. I've seen Diary of the Dead, Cannibal Holocaust, Cloverfield, Blair Witch Project. Trying to think. I think I've seen the first 2 VHS movies, but I feel like there's been like 4 or 5 since then. So I'm really far behind. I haven't seen any of the Paranormal Activities, never seen Chronicles. So I've missed so much with that subgenre. And so I decided I'd go ahead and take a leap and watch one of these. And it was Hell House LLC, the very first in the Hell House LLC series. I heard really good things about this movie. You know, certain aspects of this film worked for me. There were creepy moments, but I think sometimes with found footage movies, they are just a bit too boring for me. There's just not much that happens in these films. And it's strange because I like a slow burn, like straight narrative kind of film, something like The Changeling, where maybe you can say like not a lot happens until towards the end. But I like that traditional style of filmmaking so much more than found footage. When I watch a found footage film where little creepy things are just like, breadcrumbed throughout the film, I just feel like the effort isn't really there. It's a lot of like, guys, why don't you pretend to argue about something? And a lot of dialogue that's not really written. Just, I don't know. I feel like they kind of bank off a couple of the moments that worked really well in the Blair Witch Project. And then these films just sort of recycle these moments that are basically like jump scare kind of gotcha moments. And for me, that's just not enough. I've heard that this film, that film there, the original, and then the 4th film, which is like a prequel to the original, or at least I think it shows what happens in the house before, these folks came in and did their haunted house. So I might check that one out, but this one was like, oh boy. As I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't know, man. Am I just not the kind of person for found footage? Is it just like a genre? Sometimes like I'm a huge music lover, but there are plenty of genres in music that just don't really speak to me and they just don't really click. I can appreciate something like jazz for the, expertise that it takes and the precision and musicianship that it takes to create that music. But it doesn't mean that jazz really grabs me or grabs me very often, right? So I think that's kind of how I am with the found footage films, is I sort of feel like there's just something about them that doesn't really hook me, even if a couple moments work. This movie does have some good creepy moments, but also just like very, very simple and a lot of questions that are like frustratingly not answered. So with Hell House LLC, I don't know if I can really recommend this one. I might watch the 4th one. I might not. I've got a couple other found footage movies that I want to give a shot. That I want to give those a shot before I jump back into the Hell House series. So this one for me was not terrible, not like a waste of time or anything, but I don't think it's something that I would ever revisit. And just didn't really leave the best taste in my mouth as far as moving forward with found footage films. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments below if you completely disagree with my take on this film, because, I mean, whatever. I understand that people could really, really dig this sort of thing. So let's see what you guys are saying. We got Antonis jumping in. How you doing, Antonis? Great to see you. Foz says Chronicle was good. Jamie says Chronicle's fantastic, so maybe I should check that one out. Let's see here. We got Hell House LLC is so fun, says Trisha. And so what have you seen the sequels, Trisha? Did they get better? Have you seen the newest one, like the prequel one? I'm just curious to know, if you've seen that one as well. I think that it just may be something to where the found footage films are just kind of lost on me, and they're just not my kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah, like you say, you love found footage. Yeah, I think that's what it is, but I'm going to give a couple more a shot. I do want to watch that WNUF Halloween special. I want to watch Ghost Watch because I really enjoy Late Night with the Devil, and everyone has said that those two films were very influential, in sort of launching that idea that Late Night with the Devil sort of takes on, that kind of like real world mockumentary, not a comedy version of a mockumentary, kind of thing. So I'm going to give those a shot. And I feel like I've got to watch at least the first Paranormal Activity movie just to see what I think of that one. Dean says, I was literally just typing up a comment about Hell House. These are so fun and super creepy. I like the suspense factor they create in Hell House. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the suspense just didn't really work for me because I kept on waiting for like something else to happen. And it was sort of like a bunch of the same thing. Like, oh, the clown's head like is now faced a different direction than it was when the camera was last on it. Like a lot of that. And then when the shit hits the fan, you can't even really tell what's happening. Then there's people in black cloaks and the camera just like falls or cuts. There are like, I guess by the time like things were really happening, I was sort of just like, okay, I'm ready for the end of the movie. I feel terrible. I'm a jerk about Hell House. Eli really loves it, says Umbrella is releasing a sweet box set soon. The location they filmed Hell House at is legitimately haunted. That's really cool. I did not know that. Dean's got that box coming his way. Jamie says, I'm not a big fan of found footage. I have trouble suspending disbelief and find most of it boring and cliche. I think that you and I are right on the same page there, Jamie. I think that's what it is for me, is like, I already know that a movie's made up. So if you're trying to trick me into thinking that this thing is real, then I'm sort of just going to be like at arm's length, like when you hold a cat and they push away. That's sort of how I am. Yeah, Gene, I have seen The Ritual. We actually talked about that one. That was the first movie we covered. So if you scrub on back, or if you want to wait until the stream is over, you can go back to the beginning. And I talk about The Ritual because that's one of the movies I've watched within the last couple months of spooky season. Happy likes all the Hell House movies, but they are simple. Yeah, certainly so, for sure. Hush. Oh, yeah. Hush is friggin' great. Love it. Hush is really good, says Coy. I like it more than Hell House. Yeah, I think for sure. Let's see here. The new Hell House LLC is so good. That's awesome. So I'll have to check that one out, Eli. I'm going to circle back on Hell House, though. I think the OG Hell House is best, says Trisha. They are fun, but kind of dumb. Foz says Planet CHH said the prequel that just came out is the best of all of them. Yeah, he told me that I jumped on one of his like Planet Dirty live streams, like just on a whim. He like had me join in the middle of the stream and he was telling me that the prequel is the best one. All right. Let's see here. My Sunday is going great, Coy. We already talked a little bit about that, but my football team won, so I'm very, very happy. Foz says Ghost Watch is cool. I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate you taking care of that. Thank you so much. You got to do Paranormal Activity right. Midnight with no lights on. It makes it. Okay, I will certainly not watch any of the Paranormal Activity movies in during the day for sure. Honestly, the Paranormal Activity movies aren't bad. I hate to say I jumped a few times, says Dylan. Well, hey, that's fair. That is fair. Let's see if they can get me. I wonder if it's a generational thing for some people too, because it was so novel when the Blair Witch did it. Again, like I think Cannibal Holocaust is great. I think that's a really good like found footage kind of movie. It's a little bit of a mix between a standard narrative and found footage. Um, and even though like I'm a big Romero fan, I totally know that Diary of the Dead has plenty issues and everything. But I'm such a fan of Romero that I, take Diary of the Dead with a bit of a grain of salt. And I do enjoy that one, even though not everything works for me, but the things that work for me work pretty well. And I enjoyed Cloverfield like decently. Not really a horror movie. Kind of has elements of that, but yeah, I'll definitely have to give that prequel a shot. Yeah, and Darren says found footage. Yeah, no, I think you and I are kind of on the same page there, Darren, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Jamie saw Paranormal Activity in the theater and she wanted her money back. Ooh. Liana, yes. Oh yeah, all that right there. I'd take 80s unsolved mysteries over found footage. Yeah. That music just freaked the hell out of me when I was a kid. Couldn't fall asleep after hearing the music. That's how creepy that was. All four Hell House movies are low budget independents. Yeah, I think that's the great thing about found footage is it's like, horror has always been a subgenre or a genre of film to where you can get in with relatively low amount of money and turn a profit, right? And so I think found footage, it's great that people have an even cheaper way of trying to get their foot in the door. But I think for me, it's tougher to make a really good found footage movie. I don't find myself very, impressed with all of them, unfortunately. Christian does rule, Jamie. I've got big love for him as well. Yeah, he's one of my favorites out there for sure. Our life in horror. We got Sam hanging out. What's happening, Sam? Great to see you hanging in the chat. Hope you and Brendan are having a great weekend and that you guys are enjoying the fall weather. Hopefully it feels like fall where you're at. It's 105 where I'm at, so we're still melting here. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's grab a couple more comments here. Sam says the first Hell House genuinely freaked me out. Sorry, I'm late. Are you a fan, Davey? I thought it was okay, Sam. I'm probably not going to revisit it. Found footage is tough for me. It's I like extra don't take it seriously. For whatever reason, like more traditionally narrative movies are far more likely to creep me out and entertain me than found footage. So a found footage movie has to work exceptionally well for me to enjoy it. But admittedly, I haven't seen a whole bunch. So I haven't seen any of the Paranormal Activities. I've probably seen, including Hell House, I've seen like a handful of found footage movies. And they're okay. They're just not, I don't know what it is. Earlier, just a couple minutes ago, I likened it to be like, I understand that playing jazz is really tough and those guys are great musicians, but it doesn't mean that jazz really resonates with me, and I think found footage is like that. It just doesn't resonate with me for whatever reason, but no hate or nothing. I'm happy that those, to be able to make what Dean had said, they're making their 5th film right now in that series. That's incredible. Like I'm pumped for the people that created that. They, are get to start a whole production company and build their own little like empire, with what they're doing. And, it'll be interesting to see, how they branch off when they're either done with this or when they just want to try out some new things. So guys, we got one more. I tried, man, last night. So it was my mom's birthday last night. And my wife, Kate, and we went over to my brother's house where we watched some sports, ate some food, had some cake, and celebrated my mom's 76th birthday. And Kate and I wanted to get home in time to watch It Follows because I still haven't seen fucking It Follows. But we just didn't end up making it home before it was a bit too late and we were just a touch too sleepy. So I wanted to talk about It Follows today, but that's going to have to be for next time. My hair is just such a mess. Let's see. There we go. All right. Woo! Okay, but I did watch one more. I've got one more for you, folks. This one I've been wanting to watch for a while because last year, when I saw When Evil Lurks, that movie blew me away. And I was very impressed with the camera work, the acting, the story, the way they handled the subject matter, even the way that they did like shot blocking to, reveal shocking moments without having to, rely on like jump scares and stuff like that. Like I really love that. Or quick edits. They did a really good job of just moving the camera and then something isn't obscuring something horrific, I really enjoy seeing that kind of creativity in a film. And so I had to watch Demian Rugna's first film, Terrified. And this one, it's another Argentinian film. It's all in Spanish. I understand a little bit of Spanish, but subtitles help. I'm one of those people, like, I prefer subs over dubs because I like hearing the actual performance from the actor. I don't want the visual part of the acting and the audio part of the acting to be separated. And I don't have a problem watching a movie and reading subtitles at the same time. It's never bugged me. I don't feel like I, miss out on what's going on the screen. And so, yeah, Terrified is another, produced by Shudder film, or at least brought over here through Shudder, similar to When Evil Lurks. And it's a film that, like, it's not like it deals with the same phenomenon that was in When Evil Lurks, but it feels like this could be in the same universe, just a different kind of supernatural tale. And this one sort of reminds me, it's got that slow burn haunted house kind of feeling. There's almost like this haunting that's taking place in multiple houses, almost like there is like this area in this neighborhood, and this evil malevolent force has like found its way into 3 of the homes on this street, and it's presenting itself in a different way and doing different things in each home. But it's one of these, again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really cool, it sort of reminds me of one of those walking sim horror movies, and the fact that you have this indescript, like, humanoid demonic kind of creature that doesn't look like, it looks more unremarkable than like shockingly grotesque or anything like that, but it's almost like that unremarkable look is even more unsettling. And Demian Rugna, I mean, I would say When Evil Lurks is certainly a better film, but you can really see here in Terrified, like, how he was working up to something that would ultimately be better with When Evil Lurks, because I do think there are sort of a lot of things kind of up in the air in this movie. Not a lot. Now, I don't want every little thing explained when I watch a movie. I certainly don't want that. But I do feel like they could have given us a couple more breadcrumbs as to what was really going on here, because they leave you with a lot of, it's almost like this movie is like a bunch of little vignettes that are all connected with this through line of, paranormal investigators trying to discover what's going on in these homes, and also, put an end to it, or at least research it, because they know that there's something, they know that there's this phenomenon that occurs occasionally, to where, somebody comes back from the dead because they're basically this, supernatural force has attached themselves to that person's soul because of a tragedy or something like that. And I will say that, like, the ending of the movie sort of had me like, oh, like, I wanted a little bit more towards the end of the film. I felt like it really, like, man, it really ended quick. Like, it kind of, it built up, and then it was like the bubble burst and it just raced to the finish. So if I'm going to say anything negative, I would say that, like, I thought they were doing a really nice build up, and then it just sort of kind of falls off, and where it's like, oh man, that's it. I kind of wanted something that, gave me a little bit more to chew on. I feel like in When Evil Lurks, they do hit that, things build and build and build, and you get more of like a grander ending to a movie like When Evil Lurks. But certainly enjoyed Terrified. I know that Demian Rugna wants to do like a Friday the 13th film, because I saw him on Flet's Pop Culture and Movies. So, or movies and pop culture 13, sorry. But I saw him over on Flet's channel, and he had mentioned multiple times that he wants to direct a Friday the 13th film. And I totally get it. I think it would be cool if he got to break away from what he's been doing and do something that's a bit more straightforward, like a slasher. But also, man, I'm like, this guy could do a really cool interpretation of The Evil Dead, because Rob Tappert, Sam Raimi, and Bruce Campbell, they have 2 Evil Dead movies in the works. It seems like they're just kind of like hunting out, talent, up and coming talent, and letting these folks do their own take on the Evil Dead. And man, When Evil Lurks sort of feels like more of a grounded version of Evil Dead. So I think, not to typecast Demian Rugna, I just think it would be really, really cool to see something like that. And it would be sweet to see an Evil Dead film that takes place somewhere else in the world. Like, you could put it in Argentina, and you could put it in a different time. I think that's the thing with Evil Dead, is like, we need to start seeing the Deadites and the books in different points of history all over the globe. I think that's the way to do it with the Evil Dead. And I think a guy like Demian Rugna would be absolutely perfect for something like that. I really enjoyed Terrified. I don't know if I will revisit this one, but I certainly am going to revisit When Evil Lurks, because When Evil Lurks is amazing. And all of the elements that he, I don't know if I want to say perfects in When Evil Lurks, but all of the things that work really well for me in When Evil Lurks, those elements are here in Terrified. And it's just that he ends up doing a better job in When Evil Lurks. But a fantastic film nonetheless, and a really, if you like demonic, haunting, kind of poltergeisty sort of stories, and especially if you like foreign films. And I think even with one of the things that's great is the acting talent that Rugna finds for his movies is really good. And it's awesome to see actors that you've never heard of, because they don't speak the language that you speak and they live in a different country, but they're fantastic. It really, like, for me, pulls me in. You guys, I say this quite a bit on the channel. Like, if I know too much about the actor's like personal life, it sort of makes it tougher for me to suspend that disbelief, right? So I kind of like seeing up and comers get these more like opportunities, because it lets me lose myself in the movie and just enjoy the movie and not think about them as a person, who they're dating, what their religion or politics are, like all that stuff that just sort of gums up the works. So I think that's a benefit of watching Rugna's films, is actors that I'm not familiar with, and man, they do a really, really good job. It's super inspiring to just know that this talent is all over the globe. There's no shortage of awesome actors, and especially in today's day and age with technology and communication and streaming services, we should just be seeing more and more great movies from all over the world. So let's jump back into the comments and see what you guys are saying about Terrified here. Oh, you guys are talking about Stir of Echoes down there. I love it. Let's see what we got here. Welcome to the Jungle is a decent found footage movie. I've never seen that, but I love the song. I do love the song. Absolutely. Cody says, happy birthday, Mama Death Ray. It was a really fun birthday for sure. Let's see here. Raymond says the Commanders kicked butt today. It's looking like Daniels is looking good for Offensive Rookie of the Year and MVP. Yeah, long way to go for MVP, but I do think the Offensive Rookie of the Year, I mean, something crazy would have to happen. I think they're doing a good job of protecting him with the offensive line. I think the run game is going great. He didn't have a stellar day passing today, but damn good enough, and their defense just beat up on the Browns, sacking, Watson 7 times. Holy cow. Holy cow. Melissa says, I need to see Haunt. It's on Tubi TV. Our Life in Horror says, ooh, haven't seen that one. That's funny. I actually watched that one as well, but I'm going to wait to talk about it because we have Damien Maffei hopping on the channel for Late Night with the Davey on October 16th. So I'm going to hold off my thoughts on Haunt until then. But you guys definitely will, hear what I think about that film, and we'll have a little chat with Damien about it as well. DA says, watch Stir of Echoes last night. Crazy good. Yeah, dude, Stir of Echoes is friggin' amazing. Amazing. Yeah, Sam loves it too. Yeah, I think Mel from My Killer Podcast, when I had her on late night just the other week, she's really into that one as well. Yeah. Yeah, Trisha, I would say if you liked When Evil Lurks or you like those like poltergeisty, demonic or spirits haunting, those kinds of films, like I think you'd really dig Terrified for sure. Eli has the Blu-ray, but is yet to see it. Definitely worth your time this spooky season, Eli. And a really quick movie to watch. I think just like 80 some minutes, something like that. Bronson says Casper, Hocus Pocus, Sleepy Hollow, The Addams Family, The Haunted Mansion, The Little Vampire are all fun spooky movies to watch during spooky month. I hope you have a fun and safe spooky month. You too, Bronson. I need to see, Kate and I did watch Sleepy Hollow, but it's not a first time watch for me. We love that movie. It's really, really great. The Addams Family's awesome. But I haven't seen the other films. Casper, I was just a little too old for when it came out. We've already talked about Hocus Pocus here on the channel. And The Little Vampire, yeah, I think I was probably, in my 20s when that one came out. Yeah, it's so amazing, man. So friggin' good. Yeah, Kevin Bacon is incredible. Oh, Eli has seen Terrified. Yeah, it does feel like it leaves a little bit left to be desired there at the end. Kind of feels like it just ends, sort of out of nowhere there. Raymond says, my favorite foreign horror is Veronica. May the devil take you, and may the devil take you too. And of course, Train to Busan. Yeah, I haven't seen those first 3 films. I got to check those ones out, Raymond. But yeah, Train to Busan's super fun for sure. Yeah, if you guys have Shudder, Sam, I think it's good. I think it's something that it doesn't it moves, the story moves pretty economically in this one. So definitely doesn't fall into that slow burn category that you don't enjoy very much. This movie really it's not like it hits the ground running, but it's like, man, there's always something going on. The plot is always moving forward in Terrified. And I really did appreciate that. And I like that it exists in a world where people take this thing very seriously. And it's not like a highly publicized phenomenon, but the people that know about it, really know their shit and take it very, very seriously. Let's see here. Yeah, Bronson, I think you'd said this just the other week when you jumped in. Yeah, for sure. That'd be funny. Price is Right. Have a good one, Bronson. Yeah, you have a great spooky month as well. What's happening, Ty Lee, one of our great channel members hanging out. Yeah, Terrified was fun. I do prefer When Evil Lurks, but I'm happy that I watched this one. I'm really excited to see what Demian Rugna does next because his career looks to be very promising from his first 2 films. Absolutely. How's it going, Fung Pei? Says, good afternoon, Davey, Eli, and friends. Hope you're having a great day. Stop by to say hi. Saw you were live. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, just talking about movies that I finally watched for the very first time this spooky season. So we've covered 5 movies today, and that is pretty much it for Terrified. So I'll just pop that off of there right now. And yeah, we'll just kind of hang out for a few more minutes, guys. I really didn't plan on, going live for too long today. Just wanted to hop on here for a little bit and say what's up and kick it with you guys for a little bit. Terrified hits hard the first time, but loses a bit on rewatch. Yeah, that's the thing is some movies are like a one-time only, and that's okay. Not every movie is meant to be revisited or is the kind of style or subject matter that's really like a repeat. Like for me, all of the Friday the 13th are all repeats for different reasons, But yeah, I can totally see how Terrified would lessen, on a return scene. Or a return viewing, rather. That opening bathroom scene of Terrified was terrifying. Yeah, Necro. Yeah, I think the opening starts out really strong, and they just keep it going from there. There is some really creepy imagery, just really good performances. I think that's what kind of sold it for me, Dylan says, I'm looking forward to Terrified. Bought it for $1 at a flea market. Definitely worth a buck. Definitely worth a buck. Eli got it at the Dollar Tree. Holy cow. So it is just like this bargain basement kind of movie, huh? Well, I think it's better than that, but I think it's awesome that it's that accessible for all you guys. Raymond brings up a really good one that Cecil had mentioned the other day on our Night of the Living Dead watch party where he said that Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon is like one of the best found footage movies. I have never seen it. I've seen little bits and pieces of it because I went over to a friend's house once and he was watching it. So I saw like a couple different scenes from the movie, but I haven't seen it front to back. Really need to check that one out though. I've heard really good things, and I think it was filmed like out in the Portland area when I was living out there. So definitely should check that one out. All right, let's see what else we got going on. What else you guys want to talk about? Do you guys have any? You got some Q's, I got some A's. Just let me know. Or we can just sort of, kick it off here, and everyone can have a great rest of their weekend. I'm really pumped because at in just an hour, I'm going to be watching It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 at the advanced screening. So I'm super pumped. So yeah, I'm you'll get my thoughts, abbreviated thoughts on Twitter, probably all over on the social. So I'll let you guys know what I think of it, but I'm not, it's not going to be a full review or anything. Dave has been really cool with letting us producers watch the advanced screening, just with the caveat that we aren't going to go out there and really talk or do like a full review on the film or give away any spoilers, of course. I mean, I would never do that anyway. But I'll let you guys know what I think about that one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I'll be jumping on at 9 p.m. Eastern with Mark from Tales from the Shelf. We're going to be doing a Halloween 2 versus battle. So we're going to be doing 1981's Halloween 2 versus 2009's Halloween 2. And it's going to be similar to what we did with Alien versus Aliens. We're going to have different criteria and categories. Each movie, we're going to award each category, one of the movies is going to be awarded the winner of each category, and then we're going to tally up the score. We're going to get a poll going on with you guys in the chat so we can figure that into the mix, and we're going to crown one of those movies the undisputed champion between the two. So I'm really excited. You guys know that I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I also really love the original Halloween 2. I mean, it was my very first Halloween film, so it'll be interesting to, be fair about it all. And just see who wins what category, tally up that score, and let the chips fall where they may on that one. So really looking forward to that one as well. And then on Tuesday, I'll be on Frank's Media and Reviews with a whole bunch of folks. We're going to be hopping on there talking about 80s movie nostalgia. And then, of course, I'll be back on Wednesday for Late Night with the Davey at 10 p.m. Eastern with Vincent DeSanti from Womp Stomp Films. I'm super pumped. Vin was one of the very first interviews I had on the channel, and it'll be really cool to have him back on live for Late Night with the Davey so we can, kick it with all of you. It'll be super cool. Let's see what else we got going on here. Sam says, highly recommend VHS Beyond if I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it. And I need to catch up on a lot of them because Eli had sent me a steelbook of, I think it's VHS 99 or something like that. And then he sent me a Blu-ray of VHS 94. So I've seen the first 2 VHS films. That's it. So I need to catch up on all the other ones and just see, what I think of those. I enjoyed the first 2. I mean, I like anthology movies because even if you don't like one of the stories, it's going to be over soon. And you're probably going to find at least a story or 2 that you really do enjoy in the anthology. And that certainly was the case with the first 2 VHS films that I watched. I didn't think they were, a waste of time or bad or anything like that. So I will have to check out VHS Beyond, but maybe catch up on some of the older ones just so I can sort of, watch the series progress as it goes. All right, let's see in here. Dean says, It's Me, Billy 2 is going to be good. Dave and Bruce do phenomenal work. Yeah, I'm very encouraged by what they did with the first chapter and how chapter 2 is looking. So I'm really, really pumped for that one. I have not seen Deadstream, Ty. Is that another found footage movie? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, Dean, set that notification. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And you can hop on in the chat and, contribute, your thoughts as to which one you feel wins each category. And of course, you can contribute to the poll that we'll get going there. I've heard Deadstream was good. I haven't seen it yet, says Eli. Yeah, I need to check that one out for sure. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is my favorite Halloween film, says Sam. I really enjoy it a lot too, Sam. It's not my favorite, but it's higher on my ranking than it probably is on most people's ranking. Thank you so much for reminding everyone, Eli. Yeah, guys, if you haven't hit that like button yet, please smash the like, hit subscribe if you haven't. 99 cents a month gets you channel membership as well. So think about becoming a member of the Death Squad. We're going to be ramping up all of that membership content as the community grows here. And I even thought about making this episode a members only thing, but I was like, nah, it's Sunday. I want to bring everyone in here. But yeah, guys, we are going to be, my goal is to do at least one stream a week where it's just myself and the channel members hanging out, just kicking it. So sign on up and you'll get early access to some videos and then those live hangouts and some membership only watch parties as well. Yeah, I think Tyler Mane did a good job in those movies. I definitely don't think he's the problem with them at all. 94 is Ty's favorite VHS film. Ty thinks the newer VHS films are better than the original. All right. What did you think of that one, Raymond? I haven't seen either of those. I just don't know if they're my thing. I don't know if I want to see them. I should check out the ABCs of Death. Okay. Did they literally do like a different letter of the alphabet each time? That'd be cool. Happy Sunday, my little piggies, says Toronto Freddy. What's happening, Toronto Freddy? Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Hell yeah, Dean. Looking forward to seeing you jump in there, man. It's always fun hanging out with Mark over at Tales from the Shelf for sure. Let's see here. It's so funny. Imagine Evil Dead 2 meets Host. Is that for, let's see here. Oh, that's for, are you talking about Deadstream? Okay. Well, I love Evil Dead 2. That's all you have to say. If you say Evil Dead 2, like you've piqued my interest and I want to watch. Like that's all you got to say. Joe Dirt is amazing. Did I miss the Joe Dirt comment? Oh yeah. Joe Dirt is friggin' hilarious. Who does Tyler Mane play in Joe Dirt? I totally forgot. I guess it's been too long since I've seen that. Is he just one of Kid Rock's friends or something like that? Every letter is a way a person dies. That's pretty cool. That's creative. I like that. I know most people hate Pooh, Blood and Honey, but I gotta say I loved it. Yeah, you're sorry, not sorry, Raymond. Hey man, if you enjoyed it, more power to you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it because the last thing you want to do is watch a movie and not enjoy it, right? So you might as well, if you find yourself liking it, that's awesome. That means it was time well spent. What's happening, Greg? Great to see you. Yeah, go ahead and shoot me a DM. Feel free. Yeah, guys, my socials are in the links in the description below. If you want to follow me on like Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, you can also become a channel member through a link down there. So feel free to hit that up if you'd like as well. Necro says, I just got the 1987 Italian film Delirium directed by Lamberto Bava in the mail. So I'm going to be watching that depending on what pods are casting. Hell yeah. I've not seen Delirium. I am there is a lot of Italian movies I need to watch. The next Italian movie I'm going to watch, and I'm probably going to watch it sometime this week. I think it's called Blood and Black Lace by I think it's Mario Bava that did that one. So I'll be checking that one out. That's on Shudder, and I've heard amazing things about that movie. And I do enjoy myself a little giallo for sure. Let's see here. Boom, look at that. Sam's only an hour away from Toronto, so you guys can kick it together. The next time you and Brendan go into the city to get down with Chabad selves, you can hang out with Toronto Freddy. Deadpool's digital now, dude. You and Thrill Kill Kate should do a watch-along date night. Is it digital for free, or do I have to pay for it? Man, I'm just, what can you do? Bronson says, I came back to the chat because I have a couple more questions. Have you ever thought about doing a live stream from a Halloween party? I've never thought about that because it would kind of be tough, right? Unless it's a bunch of like content creators at the party, like all sort of like hopping on, not just the same stream together, but literally on the same camera together. Yeah, I've never thought about that. I don't go to parties very much either. And usually when I do, Bronson, I just want to like unwind and kick it and all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be doing so many streams and so many video drops. If you guys go over to the channel and check out the live tab on the channel. There are tons of streams lined up. So make sure the notification bell is clicked so you get alerts whenever I go live. And right now I'm editing the next Tales from the Crypt episode. I've got another one in the can for later on this month. And I'm going to be doing a Bride of Chucky movie review for Antonis, as well as a Child's Play ranking and Evil Dead ranking. So keep an eye out for all that. What's happening, Elevation Gaming? I'm like jumping right into your question without even saying what's up. Welcome to the channel. Everybody make Elevation Gaming feel welcome. You're hanging out with the Death Squad now, and I hope you have a great time. I've seen the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things. The second season I didn't enjoy too much, so I didn't go back. But maybe once the series is all wrapped up, maybe I'll finish it up. But man, it feels like it's been 10 years. By the time they finish that show, it'll be 10 years since they started it. Just feels like it's been a long time for sure. Yeah, Toronto Freddy, I totally get you. I mean, I love David Spade in like everything, but I really love that you root for him in Joe Dirt. I think that's awesome. Either going to be John Carver or Michael Myers. The bully from the oil rig scene. Okay. Well, I'll just have to watch it again and keep an eye out for sure. I totally missed it though. Eli needs to catch up on the next Stranger Thing. Dean followed on Instagram. Hell yeah. And just subscribed here. Thank you so much, Dean. Really appreciate you, man. Yeah, sometimes YouTube also like takes away a sub. So guys, even if you think you're subbed, check and just make sure and sub if you're not. We are getting close to 1,100 subscribers. So it's really cool that it's kind of, kept on popping off like that. Ty says, have you seen Demons 2, another Lamberto Bava movie and one of my favorite demon movies? Feels like an Italian Evil Dead. I watched the very first Demons movie here on the channel. We did a live watch party, and that was my very first time watching it. So I actually want to go back and watch that one again, because when it's your first time watching and you're doing a stream, you're not paying attention to everything. So I really want to give the movie a watch and really soak everything in, and then check out the sequel as well for sure. Let's see here. you can come visit my boiler room anytime. I love it. Hell yeah, have a great one, Bronson. I'll be live tomorrow and Wednesday and Friday and geez, every friggin' day it seems like. Yeah, guys, so we're coming up here on about an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna jet so I can have a little bite to eat and chill out for a little bit before I sit my ass back down and watch It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 with the rest of the producers and some of the cast and Dave and Bruce and all that. I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to go grab a little bite so I can be focused on that. But this has been amazing hanging out with you guys. I've really enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments section below if you're watching this after the fact, or let me know in the chat. Is this something that you want to see once or twice a month where I do a live, I finally watched it, and just sort of catch you guys up on everything that I've watched recently? It'll be really casual, conversational, just kind of stream of consciousness. I kind of like that a little bit more than having to sit down and do an actual structured movie review. There are so many channels out there that do great jobs of movie reviews. I can't compete with those folks, but what I can do is kick it with you guys and talk about what I've seen lately and just give you my upfront and honest opinion about, what I've watched. So I've had a great time hanging with everybody. Really want to thank all y'all for showing up, hanging out in the chat, for subscribing, for hitting that like button. If you know somebody in your life that would enjoy this kind of content, please feel free to share it. Share it on your socials. We are growing this community. I can't do this without you guys. And what you guys do by showing up here, subbing, becoming channel members, all that good stuff, it propels and fuels every single thing we do here at the channel. I love all of you guys for your support. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will be back tomorrow night. So it's not going to be too long, y'all. I'll see you in just over 24 hours. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Don't let the Sunday scaries get the best of you. Knock out a couple chores so you feel really good, and then sit down and do a little something for you, because self-care is the best kind of care, right? Am I right? All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow. And until then, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.